What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Wrestling. This is my review for the April 16th episode of Battle of the Belts 2. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me, Dedrian180 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up on YouTube. Yes, this was YouTube. Okay, people. It's been a long night for me. The same time that Battle of the Belts was going on, I was actually attending the New Japan Pro Wrestling Windy City Riot pay-per-view. So after that event, I came home and watched Battle of the Belts, and I'm doing this after watching both events, or attending one and watching one. So yes, it has been a long day, but I am giving you guys this review because you guys have been so gracious, and I appreciate all the subscribers that I have on House of Wrestling. Never knew or thought I would get to this point of having so many subscribers and just people interacting with the content that I produce. But thank you, and this is for you guys. So yes, I'm tired. My voice is hurting right now, but it's for you guys, man. I enjoyed it. I'm sharing my fandom and what I like about professional wrestling with you guys. So it's a long night at the time of this recording, but hey, I'm doing it for you guys. But man, this Battle of the Belts, oh boy, good. I would say this Battle of Belts was way better than the first one back in January. This was more entertaining. I don't want to say it had more star power, but it just felt like it had more depth to it as far as creativity, story, anticipation, the quality. Well, I don't want to use the term quality. The matchups just felt more. There was more stakes to it, and just you felt more invested into it. Like, ooh, I need to see this thing. See this pay-per-view, or not pay-per-view, show. And man, this was a solid show. It started with Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship. One thing I noticed about this, and I'm just going to mention the things that I noticed that were just like, okay, this is interesting. He comes out with Tnt Champion to the ring. Of course, they are in a relationship outside of, the ring. Scorpio Sky came out to a new theme music, which is pretty interesting. But the other thing is, like, Tnt Champion came, like, the vibe that they had in the ring, it did not feel like it was a heel versus face dynamic. It did feel like a heel versus a tweener that could eventually be a heel. There was a point where Tnt Champion, she was she had a different look. That's one thing. That's the other thing. Like, her look, usually when she comes to the ring, like, she's very happy and just bright, but it's just like her whole image. I don't want to say mature, but it just had a darker presence. It was like, ooh, are we hinting towards a heel turn with Sammy Guevara and Tnt Champion? Maybe. But man, this was a solid match. He was acting very heelish, Sammy Guevara. Sky, he performed a TKO on the apron ropes, which was like, it looked crazy. If you saw it, it was insane. Ethan Page, he came out. There's a spot where Sammy Guevara did a shooting star press from the top rope onto Scorpio Sky on the outside. Then there was a point where Ethan Page and Dan Lambert were arguing with Tnt Champion, and they're like, no, get back. And Dan Lambert looks, waves her down, and Paige Van Zant comes down, and they waste no time. They just start beating the hell out of each other. Like, this wasn't something where it's like, no, they were getting it in, man. They were laying in some punches. Mind you, while that's going on, Scorpio Sky is looking And Sammy Guevara, low blow, Scorpio Sky for a roll-up pin, 1, 2, 3. And yes, we have a new TNT champion, Sammy Guevara. I don't know what to make of it. And it's not a bad thing, but it's interesting because Dan Lambert and Men of the Year, which Paige Van Zant, we know they're heels just by the promos, especially the way Dan Lambert gives his promos to the opposition who they're feuding with. But for Sammy Guevara to use a low blow, it's interesting because it's not like a wrestler who's been losing a while that's desperate. It's like he didn't do it because he was desperate. He did it because he wanted to do it. So I'm interested where this is going to go. Are we getting a heel versus heel dynamic, or is Sammy Guevara just being an a-hole that's if you could say a face, that eventually might turn heel? That's interesting. And that was the first match of the night, which I'm like, ooh, man, that's pretty cool. And I like that because usually, not in, mind you, this is the second Battle of the Belts, but usually on Rampage or even Dynamite, sometimes they would have an angle like that, and it's like, this time they had it right to start the match, or the night off. Then we get a promo from Jonathan Gresham and Dalton Castle. It took me back because there was commercial, and then they come in, and it was like, oh, Jonathan Gresham's. I like the way they presented him. He had a suit, glasses, to the point. Dalton Castle, I've always enjoyed that dude. He's so freaking funny with the boys, and he reminds me of a more arrogant, flamboyant, and just aggressive Lanny Poffo, Macho Man's brother. He just reminds me of him. It's just like, dude, this guy is so freaking entertaining. It's all, and also like a little bit of Damian Sandow. Like, it's just like, this guy's so corny, so annoying, but funny. Like, this is pretty hilarious. But no, this was a really solid match between Jonathan Gresham and Dalton Castle. There was a spot where the counter, like a counter toss by Dalton Castle, Gresham counter. That, man, there's something about Jonathan Gresham matches. He is going to fucking counter some moves that you don't think he's going to counter. He will counter them. If you have not seen Jonathan Gresham before, and tonight is a pretty decent introduction, but I recommend you go see his matches, because he is a bad man, and that dude is quick like a cat, strong like a lion, and just tenacious, man. And man, he's very, I don't want to say cunning, but just very maneuvering like a snake. Like, he's just all those three things. And man, it is so fun to watch him. But man, there was a point where they were countering the turnbuckle spots, and that was a really cool spot. So Jonathan Gresham would try to chop Dalton Castle. He would underhook. Dalton Castle would try to do an elbow. He would miss. And Gresham would try to chop. He would miss. Dalton Castle would try to elbow. He would miss. And it just went on for maybe a minute or two. It was like, man, I've never seen that before. That's pretty cool. And I know some people may not like it, but it was, for what they were doing, it was really fun. Then you had Dalton Castle try to perform the Bangarang. He did not work. Gresham countered it. Then you had freaking Jonathan Gresham do the octopus hold. That is a freaking submission hold out of hell, because the way he had it in, I'm like, ooh, damn, that is a nasty move, a nasty submission hold. If you don't know what it is, just type in Jonathan Gresham finishing move. It looks like a thing of beauty. Dalton Castle taps out, 1, 2, he just taps out. Jonathan Gresham retains the ROH World Championship. Afterwards, you have, of course, Dalton Castle and Jonathan Gresham, do the honor code, shake hands and everything. Then you get Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Sanam Singh come in, and ooh boy, that dude Sanam Singh. Mind you, this is nothing bad or anything. I know the execution and debuting him was kind of like flat and underwhelming, but this I like because he beat the crap out of Jonathan Gresham. Like that cool visual of like you see how like the height difference between Jonathan Gresham and Sanam Singh. Like, oh my god, that is a huge height difference, man. If that match ever happens, that would be kind of fun because it's just like, how the hell Jonathan Gresham's going to get this big dude down? You had Sanam Singh, he just beat the hell out of him. Then you had, he beat Dalton Castle. You got Lee Moriarty and Matt Sydal. They tried to come in the ring. He tossed freaking Lee Moriarty like crazy. Then he takes the crutch from Matt Sydal. He breaks it and like flings it, and it comes like it was crazy. And then Samoa Joe, the ROH television champion, comes out with a lead pipe. Everyone clears. Sanam Singh leaves. What I liked about Sanam Singh, and I know people, he got a lot of flack on Wednesday. Oh, he's just another Kali, and is like no. What I liked about him was that as they're leaving, he was showing personality. He's going, no, I got you. No, I got you. It's like, ooh, like it's been a very long time that you've had a big man in professional wrestling that showed some type of personality that was like very charismatic and everything. And that was like, ooh, you know what? There's something there, but less is more with big guys. So it's like, let me keep seeing how this is going to work out. I enjoyed what he did. It was fun. It was a lot better than what happened on Wednesday night. Like this was a 180 better. In my opinion, it was a way better. Then afterwards they leave. You have Samoa Joe and Jonathan Gresham. They look at each other and normally it's a dap with fist, but they did a dap with the championships, and then they raise their their hands with the belts and everything. Nice visual of Jonathan Gresham with Samoa Joe, both champions there. Hopefully Ring of Honor gets that TV deal or something like that so we can get some programming. I'm looking forward to that. Then we get the main event. We get Thunder Rosa versus Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose needs to turn face. And I don't say that as a knock to her, but I do think it's time for her to be a face. She came out with like some cool art, some face paint design. I was like, ooh, it looked almost like a cross between Jeff Hardy's tattoo and like the House of Black, which was like, it's pretty interesting. Thunder Rosa, she came out with a leather jacket, cowboy hat, face paint, and everything. Of course, this is Dallas, Texas. They were cheering for her and everything. She looked great. But man, this was a really solid match. I know a lot of people are kind of like, why does Nyla Rose always get this? Why does she always get this? Why does she always get this? Look, Nyla Rose she's like, I don't want to use the term improved, but like she's grown as a performer since the first time she was on when AEW Dynamite started and everything. Like she has grown tremendously as a worker. There was a bulldog on the outside ring post from Nyla Rose. There was that power bomb on the ring apron by Nyla Rose was some force. And it was like, ooh, damn, that looked like it hurt. And usually when you say, man, that looked like it hurt, they're doing their job. There was a tornado splash from the top rope on the outside by Thunder Rosa. That was pretty cool. It was almost like a Hector Garza's corkscrew, but like she spun and like splashed Nyla Rose. That was really cool. I recommend you guys see that. Nyla Rose, she missed a maneuver that wound up. Actually, no, it was her her finisher where she jumps off the top rope, where she has the opponent on the ropes and they're laying there, and she drives her knee into their head. She missed that. Thunder Rosa did some chops, and then, oh boy, this was a freaking crazy move. Thunder Rosa countered a power bomb, and she wound up doing a Canadian destroyer. That was the way that executed that whole sequence. I recommend you guys see it. It is a work of art. It was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, that, did she just do that? Very good. Nyla Rose, she missed a senton on the apron. Then there was a roll up, 1, 2, 3. Thunder Rosa wins. That was Battle of the Belts, and let me tell you, it was fun. It was fun. I notice AEW strong when they get to the point. Especially with this Battle of Belts, this was way better than the first Battle of the Belts. The first Battle of Belts, it was there. I know there was a lot of things as far as Cody Rhodes leaving, and just it was the same time of what happened with the Tony Khan tweet about Big Swole, and just that whole, like, there was just a lot going on in January, and this just felt like something that was different than Dynamite and Rampage, but also something that was building to something down the road, where it's like, okay, we're going somewhere with this. It was a program that had direction to something else later, especially, direction going into next week's Dynamite and Rampage, and just where that's going to go. But man, I enjoyed this. I would say my favorite out of the 3 matches, and that was cool. It was 3 matches. I think last time they had a tag team match. So I like the fact that it's just championship matches, which makes it the stakes higher. Hey, there's stakes here. Somebody might be a new champion. Of course, tonight we got a new champ with Sammy Guevara with Tay Conti. But man, Jonathan Gresham, Dalton Castle, I enjoyed this. It brought back a lot of memories of watching their matches in Ring of Honor. This was so cool. Sandom Singh, the way they portrayed him tonight as opposed to Wednesday is a 180. Like, this was cool. And are we going to get a partnership with Jonathan Gresham and Samoa Joe versus Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal? I don't know. I'm liking these partnerships that AEW seems to be hitting on, especially with Sir Strickland and Keith Lee, Hobbs and Ricky Starks, and now are we going to get a team with Samoa Joe and Jonathan Gresham? That would be so badass. But man, that match was great. Man, Battle of the Belts, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you check it out. It I know it was taped after Rampage on Friday, but this was a fun show. I recommend you. This was a fun show. Again, all these matches had stakes because it was championships on the line. But man, Jonathan Gresham, Dalton Castle, loved that match. Loved it. You could tell early on there was like kind of like a rust, like, hey, we haven't, wrestled in a while. All right, let's get our thing. And once they got into a groove, it was great. Dalton Castle looked good. He freaking, the whole thing with the boys, it's hilarious, man. And it's entertaining. It just adds to his shtick. So, man, I hope Dalton Castle continues with this new Ring of Honor with Tony Khan. It's going to be fun. But yeah, Jonathan Gresham, Dalton Castle, you got to see that match, man. That was a fun match. And yeah, it was a fun pay-per-view. I enjoyed it more so because it was to the point after watching, or actually after attending New Japan, Windy City Riot, that it was like, oh, I'm watching this thing. All right. It was fun. It got to the point Please keep this like this, Tony Khan. This is enjoyable, but this is my review for the April 16th episode of Battle of the Belts from AEW. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me, Dedrian180 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, like I always say, stop fighting over wrestling. Enjoy it. If you don't like one thing, there's millions of, there's a bunch of choices from different promotions that you can find what you're looking for. And if it's neither, then start your own promotion. There you go. With that, I'm out.